Friends, what a year this month has been. I mean, I don't even know where to start just because my life has changed significantly in this past month, and I didn't even realize that we're already in the second quarter of this year, which is crazy. More after the intro. Good people, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you all have had an amazing day today. So getting right into it, April has lasted a long time in my opinion, quite honestly. I mean, and that's probably just because of all the stuff that has taken place with me. I would definitely say that I'm climbing some mountains, riding some roller coasters, and let's just also say that plans as I knew them to be have changed. In my April recap vlog, towards the end of that, I shared some very exciting news with you guys, and we're going to take a quick throwback to that.
I am throwing another countdown at y'all. In a month, I will be doing something very special and important, something I haven't shared yet, and that is graduate with my AA. Now, before y'all go insanely crazy, I am walking early.
So like I said, this is from my April recap vlog, posted barely half a month ago, just a couple weeks. And I announced this exciting news to you guys after coming to the decision that I wanted to share because I was coming up on the 1 month countdown of graduation. However, plans with that have changed. I won't be walking early on May 8th, but instead I will finish out the calendar year 2026 with my summer and fall semester and be a fall graduate to then walk in the spring 2027 commencement. And I have to be quite honest, finding this out was a letdown in a way, to an extent, just because since November of last year, while I was still in fall semester planning for potential spring classes, which I'm in now, to probably about mid to end of March, a few weeks ago, like I was under the assumption that I only needed 2 more classes to graduate in the summer. This is the assumption I was under based on my advisor. Based on credits from like high school, credits that I was already in at the time of fall semester, and then in addition to spring semester classes, it was told that I would only need 2 classes in the summer to completely finish all the requirements to get my AA degree. From that information, registered for graduation in February before the deadline. So February, I registered for graduation. Then in March, last month, I set up a completely separate different meeting to discuss switching my major from public relations to journalism. When switching from public relations to journalism, like, it's still, both of those concentrations are still under the umbrella of the communications major. So not really changing my major, but more so like the concentration, the area of study. Even when talking about making this switch, it was still told that I needed 2 classes to be a summer graduate. So I just let it rest because everything seemed to be good, going like on the up and up. So from there, I decided, okay, let's get registered for summer classes. But then I also pre-registered for bachelor level program classes, assuming that I would start bachelor's in the fall. I left this meeting last month feeling like, okay, great, things are coming together. All right, we're tying up some loose ends. This is good. However, after this meeting, when I actually came home, it was a very late night because we were out celebrating my dad's birthday. And I was just looking back through everything and realizing like the meeting was pointless. And here's how I felt like I took 10 steps back. So basically, I had to sort things out, get the right guidance, and help to switch to the major that I needed and wanted to be in, compared to just being recommended something that's off the charts. So I get through the whole ordeal of trying to switch my major to journalism, making sure that the paperwork says what it needs to say, and I felt good, I felt calm. And then that was until another thing came up. I started to look further into my degree plan, and I realized that I needed 3 classes and not 2. So that changed everything. I looked at my former degree plan in public relations, and then also looked at what I'm switching over to, which is journalism. I looked at both degree plans, and I was like, well, even if I hadn't switched from public relations to journalism, I still would have needed that third class to fulfill my major electives requirement. So, I'm like, all right, no problem. A third class to tack on to summer semester. All right, great, not a problem. But then I get further alarmed when I realize that this third class that I need is not available until fall semester. So I find this out on my own after I have sat up in this meeting and pre-registered for bachelor program classes, because once again, I am under the assumption that I will graduate in the summer with my AA, start bachelor's in the fall. Boom. Then that brings up a whole nother person for me to have to talk to, which is the graduation specialist. And I'm giving her the rundown and timeline of events of what has been going on. Just switching my major, finding out that I need 3 classes instead of 2, and the whole plethora of things that I'm experiencing. She says at this point, because you will be pushed over into being a fall graduate, it's going to push you into the following year's commencement. So immediately after finding this out, I am attempting to console myself and be like, all right, it's good, it's okay, it's fine. There's always another graduation. There's gonna be time to celebrate. But I still took it hard, and I left that campus bawling my eyes out, actually. A lot of thoughts were spiraling in my mind because, one, I beat myself up very bad, honestly, because I didn't even know if I wanted to walk early and then graduate later, like with the official degree and documents, like for real, because that is so not me. I have been through so much in my life to where when I celebrate something, when it comes to celebration, I want it to be meaningful. I want it to be worth it and not a waste of time, And even though I know my work ethic, I know me, like still, you just want it to be official and concrete before you go full on in celebration mode. And so it's like once I start getting excited, that excitement turns into just nothing, just silence. And that happened, it kind of felt like I was slapping myself in the face, like you should have just waited until next year when you actually had it and celebrate then. And so this whole mind game against myself. Then too, on the other hand, I was like, well, I can't beat myself up too bad because I've been told this for months. I was misled. I had to be the one to find this out about 3 classes. Better yet, that third class is like only available in the fall, pushing me like behind a semester in my timeline of things. But then I beat myself right back up again because it's like, why did I not see this sooner? Also, I had just started getting excited. Like seriously, a week ago today, I found out that I would be walking next year instead. And so 2 days before that, on Monday, my parents surprised me with the location of my grad party with my family and friends. And so them making plans started to put me in the celebratory vibes. After my parents surprised me with that location and everything, my mom and I, we left the house. We went to Hobby Lobby. We went to go look at class of 2026 stuff and whatnot. And so that also got me excited. And then we ended up at Publix to get some groceries, but we also ended up in the bakery section where they have the kiosk and different things that you can look for, cake designs for whatever you want it to be. And so mom was like, hey, go take some pictures of different cake designs that you might want so I can kind of get a general idea of a cake for your party. That was Monday. So then the next day, Tuesday, my grad dress for pictures came in. And so that also just kept adding to the mood. Then we get to Wednesday and it's like bombs just explode. And like I said, emotionally and mentally, I thought I was good. I thought I was fine because of course there's always another graduation. So I really wasn't expecting to have the emotional response that I ended up having. It was a very rough afternoon, like very rough, because I just had an amazing morning. I had a full face of makeup on. I had just come from a student spotlight feature for communications major. And so, yeah, I cried all of that off just about before leaving campus. It was just a total switch in my day. And part of me feels like it's dumb just because it's not like it's not going to happen, but also part of me is like, this is valid because I got excited. I think just the early excitement really messed me up. In this past week and month, I have just been focusing on regrouping and moving forward from here because truth is, this is disappointing. And I took Wednesday and the rest of the weekend last week to just really sit and think and process before saying anything to anybody. It's quite interesting in this situation because I find my response to this a lot similar to grief, because especially with my grandparents, Pop and Meemaw, like in their terminal illnesses, I knew they were going to pass away. Like that was just the reality that we were facing with their conditions. And so even though I knew that, still when it happened, it was still hard. I still took it hard. And that was me because I was kind of like on the edge about graduation, especially with switching over. And then when I started to look into things, that's really what made me curious. I asked multiple times, and then I contacted, like I said, the graduation specialist. I read the email, kind of like was confused on different things. And so I called to confirm that it was saying what it was saying. And I still cried. I just really wanted to be human. I just wanted to have my chance to sit and be sad in peace, just to have a moment to process everything, because the journey from switching my major almost a month ago, well, exactly a month ago, came with a lot of stuff that I just wasn't expecting, and it led me to this. And I bring up my human emotions, but I don't forget about a very, very holy God in my life. Even during this time of stepping back and looking at everything in a bigger picture as a whole and just kind of restructuring things, I have still felt God's love in a way that is very much unmatched. I have a playlist and it's titled This Season. And it's basically a playlist that fits the current season of life I am in. So currently right now, I have a lot of uplifting, motivational songs to just kind of get me out of this fog. In the Bible, the book of James, chapter 1, the first few verses tells us to consider it pure joy when you face trials, because the testing of your faith produces perseverance. You know, that part about considering it all joy, I've definitely been working on that, just because with me being a semester behind in the original timeline that I was thinking and expecting, I've had to consider it pure joy that I'm actually going to be slowing down after this semester and spending more time with family, like more dedicated time, of course, to church and everything like that, and doing things that I normally wouldn't do in this very fast-paced, busy, full-time schedule right now. The trials of this process has definitely been testing to my faith, but it has increased my perseverance and it hasn't stopped. I mean, this past month, like exactly 30 days has been crazy, because actually a month ago today, March 22nd, made 3 years since my pop passed away. And so, of course, with those types of events come the emotional waves of everything and reliving everything all over again. And so that on top of this academic stuff that has all taken place in just the past few weeks has been crazy to me. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to my debrief and how life has changed for me. Just to be able to share this with you guys has been therapeutic in a way. Today is Wednesday, so y'all already know I have church tonight. So I'm gonna go get ready for a little midweek reset, because that never hurts. And I will catch up with y'all next week.